of that series. I do think there was a bit of unheralded animosity between
Let's call it hate. Let's spice it up. Yeah,
a bit of hate. It did feel a little bit awkward, I think, after the Durban test. I don't think both teams sort of knew what to do with that animosity. We really wanted to go freaking proper toil at it, and
plus it wasn't right to do it after that first test. You're 1-0 up.
Yeah,
I think it's only right to probably share a few beers once it's been decided. So as I said, I wasn't around after that second test, but I don't even think after the third test there was.
No, there wasn't.
There was nothing really.
There was maybe a quick function, but yeah. No, so no. On field it was proper spicy, and a lot of ferocity, and I just think that sort of then led to the off-field stuff. So we actually didn't do much togetherness, to be brutally honest, which is sad, because I think a lot of us, really do get on extremely well. But I think just in the boiling pot, you sort of just caught in your own environment. So disappointing. But yeah,
the game's changed now, though. They'll be meeting up in a week for coffees this year.
Yeah,
be having beers after every game.
Half the South African side or teammates of the Lions guys up in the UK.
Exactly.
I'd be disappointed if they weren't.
Yeah, exactly.
In bubbles.
And nowadays, we can often find yourself and Brian O'Driscoll promoting rugby around the world with HSBC. And I know that yourself and Bod have been to the Hong Kong Sevens a few times. So, have you got any good stories about Brian when he was out and about on the town?
Or in the South Stand?
Yeah, so I was fortunate enough to go to my first ever Hong Kong Sevens in 2019, and I've just heard the stories about the South Stand. And if you've never been to Hong Kong Sevens, when the world gets back to normal, book your ticket, because it is
it's a joke, isn't it?
It's
another level.
So I got there, and obviously Drico had been on the HSBC Red Polo Gang ambassador tour for a while now, and I actually got and heard that his first tour he was crowd surfing, and I was like, "Jeepers, this is wild! This is wild!" So I was fairly composed, and Drico actually gave me the best piece of advice leading up to that week. He said, "Whatever you do, get the flight back home on the Sunday night." And I was like, "Surely the Sunday night's the biggest part." He says, "Do yourself a favor, get yourself a flight back home on the Sunday night after the final day." So I was a bit of a party pooper. I got my flight back, but the Saturday night, some proper memories made in Hong Kong. The South, if you've ever been to the Hong Kong Sevens, you'll understand the South Stand. And myself, Drico, and George Gregan were on that tour, and we did that thing with HSBC where we took some kids around, and they were just wild. And there was this one Frenchman that gave me half a pint of beer that had been boiling in the sun, and you actually don't even know what's in there. So
I was going to say, you sure it was beer?
Yeah. Oh, I don't do beer, but that was beer taste. It was horrible. But it had been boiling, and then so we got myself, Drico, and George Gregan sculling drinks, on the South Stand, and just that experience was phenomenal. So yeah, I definitely recommend anyone, if you ever do get an opportunity to go to the Hong Kong Sevens, do it, because it's a once in a lifetime memorable experience.
Obviously, it's annoying because I obviously want to chat to you about the Cheetah story, like I mentioned, but that's not one of the questions I was told.
I never played for the Cheetahs.
Nah, you raced a Cheetah though.
Well, I raced many things, not just the Cheetah.
I know, but the Cheetah thing, I told you, was the most impressive thing to me. Were you not super scared? Because I was watching back the video, and I kind of thought that it was looking at you at one point. And I was like,
I was absolutely shitting myself. So, okay, quickly. So this all came about by this nature conservation area called the DeVille Cheetah Tracker Program, wanting to highlight the plight of the cheetah becoming an extinct animal. I'm like, yes, I love nature. South Africa, Jamie will know, we, the Big Five, the game park and stuff over here, it's just insane. And I grew up going on father and son weekends, to the game reserves. And I was like, yeah, I'm all in for, raising awareness about the plight of the cheetah. So it was literally in the middle of Super Rugby. I think it was on a Thursday. We played the Crusaders on the Saturday. Heineke Meyer was absolutely livid when I said, "Coach, listen, I'm doing this thing, racing is." "You're doing what?" Just I'm like warming up, I'm stretching, I'm doing all these things. So we get to this place, and look, and there's like this patchy little piece of grass. And I'm like, okay, well, where's, and like, they built the stand and everything. I'm like, geez, I thought this was like a low-key event. Like, no, they've flown in international media. And I'm like, you've done what? And they're like, okay, well, you see this patchy piece of grass like running down. I'm like, yeah. They're like, no. So we laid that 3 weeks ago. I'm like a professional rugby player. I'm like, surely like ditches, whatever. They said, no, well, that's the best we could do at such short. I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm like,
strap your ankles,
strap your ankles, stretch your hammies. I'm like, okay, I'm running here. Where's the cheetah running? So they go, well, you see on this patchy piece of grass, there's like a little string down the middle. I'm like, yeah. He goes, well, you're on the one side and the cheetah's on the other. I'm like, stop. Say that again slowly. Like, no, you'll be fine. We have one tracker on the course. I'm like, shut up. You got a one tracker on the course. He got another. He's got a tranquilizer gun. So I'm like, well, what's gonna firstly stop the cheetah looking at my behind and thinking that's its next piece of ramp? And how good is this tracker shot in 100 meters with a tranquilizer gun? So the freaking thoughts running to my head, and then obviously I needed a head start because as much as I'd love to rate my speed, going from 0 to 90 kilometers an hour in under 2 seconds, the cheetah it would have had my ass every day of the week. So you can imagine how I'm like shitting myself. And I'm thinking, if this goes wrong, I've got no control over what the cheetah does. I've got no control. Heineken, like SA Rugby is going to be on my head. The Bulls are going to like take my car. I'm standing.
Mate, that's the least of your worries, man. I'll be worried for your health.
But I'm looking like 30 meters back, and I'm thinking, this is wild. What have I got myself into? And then we're like running, and I'm just running for my life. I don't even care where the cheetah is, and I'm hearing like this galloping coming towards me, like ever closer. And I'm like, I just got to get to the fence. I just got to get to the fence. Yes, no, it was one of the most stupidest things I've ever done in my career.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it's cool, mate. What do they put on the string? Is it like a little rabbit or something?
So they call it a lure. So it's like a little, I think it was a bunny or a rabbit, like this little thing.
Okay.
And I'm like, so what if it looks up from the lure to my arse and says, okay, well, that rump is definitely. It's like the thoughts running through my head. It was like, and literally, and then it obviously got a lot of publicity for the wrong reasons. And it was Bryan Habana like flaunting how fast it is. I was like, I'm trying to create like awareness about the cheetah becoming an extinct animal. They literally built a grandstand. I think it was like 100 people in this grandstand in a very remote game reserve in South Africa. It was definitely a unique experience. I'm not quite sure running against the A380 surpassed it though. No, that cheetah one was definitely up there.
I think you obviously just learned your lesson from racing against an animal that you were like, I'm going to stick to cars and planes and stuff from now on. They're definitely safer. Oh, I think it was the coolest thing. I love animals. So when I saw that video, I was just like, it's class. So of all the players that you have played against over the years, can you rank like the top 3 best players that you've ever played against?
So Richie McCaw, number 1. The reason is I think Richie, what he achieved as a player and as a captain, for the All Blacks, it's scary to think, that he had this guy that went on to, play World Cup finals with a broken foot. He became the first captain to ever captain his country to 100 Test match wins, which is like, players who want to play 100 Test matches, winning 100 times, and as captain of the All Blacks is just phenomenal. Jock Free, funnily enough, is someone that I've played with, is probably one of the most consistent Springboks ever. He played in that 2009 game with myself, and Jamie, and he just never, and he started his Springbok career as a 19-year-old and was just incredible throughout. Number 3, I'm probably going to go Dan Carter. I think DC, what he was able to give the game, in a position that, you have some legends of, the likes of a Johnny Wilkinson and Matt Giddar, it's just phenomenal players from around the world, go on and win titles. You took brand marketing from a rugby perspective to a different stratosphere, and did it just so well. I think we all had massive jealousy genes just because of Dan, and like he was like this pristine, good-looking guy. I'm like, he's got the talent, got the looks, got the wife, the girls, got everything, and he's got the car deals, the Louis Vuitton deals. He's got all these things. So those three players, I think for me, just consistency. What they gave the game of rugby. I think Jacques, because I got to play with him, but Dan and Richie was just in a different league in terms of what they achieved.